Hello, listeners. My name is Professor Adontes Finch, and welcome to the Nightmare Trials.
Well, this isn't good. Not good at all. My eyes unfocused and the world around me began to blur. It's weird how the colors begin to blend and shapes fade all into one. I'm feeling nothing at all. And I would think that this would scare me. I mean, I know it should scare me, but nothing is all I can think of right now. Because thinking of something would just bring the reality of my situation to life. So I go blank, my face expressionless and my body relaxed.
Phineas, I know this can be hard to hear, and please take all the time you need. But I do need to make sure that you understand what I am saying.
The silence between us is heavy, telling all there is needed to tell. I slowly begin to shake my head up and down, letting Dr. Goss know that I understand. He reaches out towards me and places his hand softly on my shoulder.
I need to hear you say it back to me, Phineas.
Yeah, Doc, I understand. I understand that a few weeks ago I was in perfect health. I understand that I came here for a routine checkup and we happened to find a mole that looked a little off. I remember you telling me that I needed to go to a specialist and have it looked at just to make sure that it wasn't anything cancerous. And that specialist let me know that they wanted to do a biopsy and that I shouldn't worry. These regular moles pop up all the time, and more often than not, they don't mean anything. Now, I understand that after a bad diagnosis and some scans of my body, I have stage 4 cancer. And there isn't a damn thing I can do about it. I understand that I'm going to die, and I have maybe a year to live. I set my gaze on his face, and it surprises me that I'm not angry or sad. I'm just here, existing while I can exist. Does that about sum it up? He takes his hand off my shoulder and gives me a pitying look. A look I should probably start getting used to. And I can't blame him. It's sort of human nature when it comes to death. Even at 50-something, the doctor had a few decades left in his life, while I have maybe half a year.
Yes, Phineas. That should sum it up. Now, we could try and fight this with chemotherapy, but your quality of life will decline rapidly. It may give you a few more months to maybe even a year of time. And then there are some experimental
He kept talking, but I lost interest in what he was saying. I could hear his words, but they meant nothing to me. They were just words. My mind began to wander, thinking about my situation. How was I going to tell my wife and my kids, and what will they think about all of this? I mean, they'll be fine when I'm gone. I have a few life insurance policies that will cover paying off the house and the bills. And once that is all paid off, they will have some extra cash to do whatever they want. And what will my parents think knowing that their son is going to die before them? That won't be easy, I'm sure. All parents expect to die before their children. It's sort of expected in the natural order of life. But here we are. And my friends, what will they think? Out of our tight-knit group, I doubt any of them thought I would be the first to go. I've always been active and fit, healthy my whole life. I had regular checkups, never really had the flu or even the cold. Look at me. I've just been told that I'm going to die, and I only care about what people are going to think, and not the fact that I am fucking dying. It's all too much to comprehend right now. I come out of my introspection to interrupt Dr. Goss. No, I think I'll just live out what time I have left without chemicals running through my body. He stared at me, calculating my response. He closed his eyes and began to nod his head.
Okay. I have brought you some pamphlets on what to expect in the coming days. There will be some references to some great hospice care facilities and death counseling. I'm very sorry for the bad news today, Phineas. Please, take all the time you need here. I will be sending in a nurse to assist you with some follow-up and scheduling.
He rose to his feet and gave me that look again. He walked out of the exam room, softly shutting the door behind him. This is probably the hardest part of his job, dropping shitty news on people and letting them know that they are going to die, and that there really isn't anything he can do medically about it. I don't envy the man, not one bit, but damn, man, he still has his whole life to live ahead of him. And I am just a ticking time bomb without a countdown timer that I can even see. And I don't even get to go out on my own terms. There isn't some heroic way to die of cancer. You just wither away as the disease eats away at every cell within your body. You get frail, tired, and weak. I tossed the pamphlets on the ground and stood up. Fuck waiting for the nurse. Fuck all of this, and most of all, fuck life. I walked down the clinic's hallway, bypassing the checkout counter and the administrative assistant calling for me to stop. I stepped out of the waiting room and looked at the people there. A 70-ish-year-old man with graying skin and an oxygen mask sat slumped in a chair. A woman with a screaming baby sat in the children's play place trying to calm the child down. But the kid wasn't having any of it. It just wailed and fought her as she made hushed tones. A man coughed from the other side of the waiting room, not even covering his mouth. Fucking asshole. I rolled my eyes and walked out of the building's sliding doors and into the hot July day. I breathed in deeply, the humid air filling my lungs, and then the smell of shit. Jesus fucking Christ. Today just isn't my fucking day. I located my car and got inside. It had to be a solid 30 degrees warmer inside of this vehicle, and I immediately began to sweat. I turned on the car and began to drive away, looking at the clinic through my rear view window and seeing Dr. Goss standing outside, arms crossed, with a look of disappointment on his face. I bet he was notified that I had just left the facility without any sort of follow-up or check-in with the nurse. And honestly, I really didn't give a fuck. The drive home was uneventful. I stopped off at a local fast food chain and ordered the greasiest, nastiest fucking food on the menu and just devoured it. I didn't care anymore. What was the point, really? I pulled up into my driveway and stared off into space. No one was home yet. The wife was at work and the kids were out with the grandmother at the pool. I started to think more about my situation and just tried to get any sort of feeling. But no emotions would come. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing. Then I began to think about the loss of control over my own life that I had. I could no longer live day to day thinking that I had any sort of meaning in life other than to die, and that at any moment I could take a downturn and just begin to waste away. Then I thought about taking matters into my own hands, just to give me some semblance of taking control back. I could decide when I would die and how. But the thought of suicide wasn't appealing to me. That isn't really the way I want to go from this world. It just didn't seem poetic enough for me, and it left more people hurt. I wasn't sure how long I just sat there, thinking to myself, when my phone chimed stating that I had just received a new text message. I looked at the notification and saw an unsaved number and no prompt on what the text was about. Curious, I unlocked my phone and checked the text messages. What I read was different.
Hello, Phineas. I know what you are going through right now. I have been there more times than you can imagine. You feel empty and hollow right now. Like you are beginning to lose control of the person you are, and you feel like life no longer holds meaning. And that is understandable. diagnosis like yours doesn't seem fair at all. But I'm here to tell you there may be a way out of it. A way to end your story, good or bad, one way or the other.
Okay, this had to be Dr. Goss's personal cell phone number. He must feel some sort of way about how I left and is trying to make it, I don't know, better? But what did he mean by he has been here before and that there is a way out of it? That sort of threw me for a loop because he didn't mention that before, so I responded back. Is this Dr. Goss? If so, I'm good, man. I just got a little shaken by the diagnosis, you know? I'm sure you've seen it all when you pass on this type of information to someone. It's all good, man. I just need a day or two to sort of wrap my head around things and figure out my next action. I sent the message and let out a deep sigh and walked into my house. The door had just shut behind me when another text came through.
No, this isn't Dr. Goss. I'm going to get straight to the point with you. I want to offer you the chance to live or to die.
I read the message and furrowed my brows. For the first time since I got the news, I actually began to feel something. And it was anger. Anger with a hint of hope. Weird feeling, I know. And the fact that my brain registered that feeling of hope only pissed me off more. I responded back. Honestly, I don't give a fuck who this is or how you got my information. Whatever you're doing is a sick game. I'm blocking this number, and I hope you have a shitty rest of your day, asshole. I hit send and went to the conversation settings. I found the block number prompt and clicked it on my phone screen. I then tossed my phone on the couch and let out a scream of frustration. What a fucking dick this person was. I just got the worst news of my life, and somehow this person got my information and reached out to me to fuck with me. Another notification chimed on my phone. I stopped my mental rage and just stared at it. The screen illuminated on the couch, sitting there like a beacon in a quest leading me to the next step. I hesitated, not knowing what to do. It could be the same person. They could have another number they text me from, or it could be my wife texting me to see how my day was going. For all she knew, I was still at work. I hadn't told her anything about the doctor's visits. That was a stress I did not want to put on her. Another notification came through. I walked over to the couch and picked up my phone to see who was texting me. Confusion hit me as I saw the number I had just blocked on my notification screen. How the hell was that even possible? I opened my messaging app and began to read.
Listen, Phineas, I can understand your anger, especially when some stranger starts messaging you about living or dying after the news you just received. But I am offering you a chance. I can cure you. You just need to agree to the terms and play along with the game. What more do you have to lose here? Just click this link and we can begin.
Below the message was a link. This screamed scam, but my interest was piqued, and that feeling of hope kept nagging at me from the back of my mind. What do I have to lose? If this turned out to be a scam, I could factory reset my phone and just start over. So against my better judgment, I clicked the link. I was promptly brought to a landing page that had the heading, Live or Die. You choose. Underneath were two buttons that stated Live or Die. I pressed Live and a new text message popped up.
Very well, Phineas. You have chosen to live. Your first task will be to pull out 2 of your teeth. It doesn't matter which ones. You just need to remove 2 of them. Once that is done, take a photo of the teeth and of your mouth and send it back to me. Then we can move forward. You will have precisely 4 minutes to get this done. The time starts now.
A timer appeared on my screen, counting down the seconds from 4 minutes. What the fuck is this? There was no way in hell I was just going to rip out my teeth and show it to this weirdo. I rolled my eyes and began to text this person back. Listen, I'm not doing that, and you're a pretty sick fuck if this is what you do to people. Giving them some weird sense of false hope and then dropping an insane task like this on them? Get fucked, asshole. Don't text me back. I hit send and sat down on the couch. My phone immediately chimed again with another notification.
You won't like what happens if you do not finish this task, Phineas. There are 2 minutes left.
I didn't respond back. I just set the phone beside me and turned on the TV. 2 minutes passed, and then 3, then 5, I didn't realize it until relief swept over my body, but I was actually kind of scared for what would happen if the time ran out. My phone chimed with another notification. I just stared at the illuminated screen with the number that was now becoming familiar and annoying. I should just let it be. Forget any conversation had ever happened and just carry on with the remaining time I had in life. But curiosity is one hell of a thing, and not knowing what was just sent to me was digging itself deep inside my mind. I grabbed the phone and unlocked my screen. There was the previous message I didn't respond to and a video underneath it with a text phrase that said, "Volume up." I clicked the video and heard what sounded like faint whispering. I couldn't make out what was being said. I did in fact turn the volume up, but whatever was being said, it was just unintelligible. It was definitely a conversation between two people and a faint crowd noise. If I'm being honest, it sounded like maybe a TV show was being played. Frustrated, I started to focus on the video more. It was just a dark room. What the hell was this? I continued to watch, but nothing seemed to change. Then there was a voice that came in a hushed tone.
Time's up.
A door opened slowly, flooding the forward-facing camera in light. I recognized where the person was. It was my daughter's room. Whomever sent this video was in my fucking house. I shot to my feet and looked around me, ready to run or fight. But the house was still.
I'm coming.
The voice said. I turned my attention back to the phone and watched as someone stalked up behind me. The video of me just sat there watching the TV show I had on. How the hell did I not hear them? A minute passed. Then two. The camera focused on the back of my head. I began to plead with myself out loud. Turn around, you dumb fuck. There's someone there. Turn around and get the fuck out of the house.
You really should heed your own words.
The voice came from directly behind me. I turned around quickly, swinging with a punch that went unimpeded through the air. My eyes dilated as my body dumped adrenaline through my veins. My mind cleared as the high of the natural chemicals coursed through me. But there wasn't anyone there. My eyes shot across the room, darting back and forth. I swung around again, but there was no one there. What the fuck is going on? Then hands grabbed me, pulling me backwards. An arm wrapped around my throat and began to squeeze. I fought and struggled to break free, but whomever had me kept moving us backwards at a slow pace, not allowing for me to get my footing and do anything about my situation. The world around me began to darken, and a shadowy figure emerged from around the corner. They approached me quickly, moving as if dancing swiftly across the floor. They reached out and grabbed my lower jaw, pulling it down. I tried to bite down, but whoever this was, they were unnaturally strong. I felt fingers probing around my mouth, wriggling my teeth, searching for a loose one. Their search stopped at my bottom molar. They began to pull the tooth back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The cracking noise of the root popping free from my gums began to reverberate through my head. Pain shot down my jawline and into my ear. The person began to work faster, and I felt my tooth begin to slip up and out of my gums. Blood now trickled and ran along my tongue, the hot metallic liquid causing my stomach to churn. I let out choked screams as the person holding me began to loosen their grip around my throat. They moved their hands around my head, holding it still. I couldn't move. I tried, but my body was paralyzed and stiff. More pain hit me as the tooth finally came free from my mouth, making a grotesque sucking noise. My body went limp and I fell to my knees. Blood now streaming down my chin. The world around me began to spin. The person in front of me held my tooth in front of my face for me to see. One of the roots had cracked and broken off during the extraction, the jagged piece dripping small droplets of blood on the floor. They let the tooth fall to the ground and stared into me, their face nothing more than a blur shrouded by darkness. Then I felt hands grip my head again and my world faded to black. I don't know how long, but I woke up sometime later on the ground, a small pool of blood around my face and a burning sensation in my mouth. I spit out gelatinous clots and looked over at the black TV screen. I grabbed my phone and turned on the forward-facing camera. I slowly opened my mouth to see that I was now missing one of my two front teeth. Tears fell down my face as I began to sob. What the fuck is going on? My phone vibrated with another notification. It was the same number again. I quickly opened it and read the message.
All you had to do was pull out some teeth, Phineas. I don't think you were taking me serious here. But don't worry, the first fuck up is free. This lets you know how serious we really are with all of this. From now on, you listen and do what is told of you. If you want the cure and if you want to keep living, you will obey.
I furiously began to text back. Fuck you, you sadistic fuck. I'm going to call the police and burn your ass.
Sure, but that means this is all over, and you wither away into nothing, and that cancer eats you from the inside out. Or you can continue and be cured.
Why not just give me the fucking cure and stop with this damn game? This is torture.
We all must endure a little torture to be free of the sickness we call life, Phineas. Now choose, live or die.
Another link appeared for me to click. I stared at it as I ran my tongue along the now tender and exposed gums. I clicked the link and was brought to the same landing page as last time. The same two options illuminated in front of me. I could just stop all of this now and try to live out my last days as best as I could. My finger hovered and trembled over die, but then there was that tinge again, nagging me from the back of my mind, that feeling of hope to live out the rest of my life fully without the weight of this damn disease hanging over me. So I clicked live, and the screen disappeared. Another text notification chimed.
Very good, Phineas. Now, you know how serious we are with this. So I'm going to need you to really make sure you do as you are told, or the consequences will be dire this time. For your next task, you will need to chop off your pointer finger on your left hand, but it must be done in a very specific way. We will need you to cut at every knuckle starting from the tip down to your hand. Once this is done, go cauterize the wound on the stove. You have exactly 10 minutes to complete this task, and your time starts now.
My screen went black and a timer began the countdown. I threw my phone on the couch and drug my fingers through my hair. Jesus fucking Christ. I began to pace back and forth as panic began to overwhelm my system. I started to bargain with myself. What happens if I don't do this? What if I just go to the cops? I mean, I could do this and just say I'm done after, right? Do I have a choice in any of this? Whomever attacked me earlier, they didn't seem real, like shadows or something supernatural. What if they come back for me? I was broken from my thoughts when the phone chimed. There was another text message.
Phineas. Stop stalling. You chose life. Now go and live. Complete this task and we can move forward. This is your final warning.
I looked at the timer to see that 3 minutes had already passed. I looked into my kitchen at the butcher's block and the knife handles sticking out of them. My heart began to race as I started to feel faint. If I was going to do this, I had to do it now. I had to stop dwelling on this and just fucking do it. I rose to my feet and began to quickly walk to the kitchen. An out-of-body feeling swept over me. I was numb again, just like after I had received my diagnosis. I don't even remember pulling out the long bread knife, its serrated edges glistening in the artificial light of the room. I placed my left hand on the kitchen island table. The cold concrete that we had just poured as a top for the more modern feel was a welcome sensation. Placing the tip of the bread knife on the knuckle right below my pointer fingernail, I began to count out loud. 1, 2... I let the knife clatter onto the countertop. Blood streamed out from the now exposed wound on my hand. My pointer finger laid in 3 separate segments scattered haphazardly on the counter. I began to feel dizzy, but I wasn't done. Moving over to the oven, I cranked on the front left burner to high and waited for it to get hot. The pain I felt was immense as shockwaves ran up my hand and forearm. When I felt that the burner was hot enough now, I angled my hand and slammed it down. My skin sizzled and popped like steak being placed on a hot pan. I let out a scream as smoke and the smell of cooked meat wafted across my nostrils. I removed my hand and looked down at the charred and blistered remains of where my pointer finger once was. I began to sob, slamming my body up against the kitchen island and falling to my ass. I wasn't sure how long I was there, but I was pulled from my own sorrow when my phone chimed from the living room. Hatred filled me as I stared at the illuminated screen. I turned my body to its side and rose to my feet, being careful not to utilize my left hand at all. I walked to the living room and picked up my phone. I took a deep breath and opened the message.
I am so proud of you, Phineas. I wasn't sure you would even go through with it, and you even had time to spare. Very good, very, very good. Now, we are almost done here. There is just one final task before we can cure you completely. But I will warn you, this one will be hard and very trying. So, Phineas, what do you choose? Live or die?
Another link was sent to me. I opened it, and there were two options once again. I didn't hesitate. I clicked live. The screen went black, and another notification came through. No. God damn it.
Phineas? Hey, I saw your car in the driveway. Did you leave work early today? Phineas?
Mommy? Are those teeth on the floor? And why is there blood?
Sweetie, get over here. Don't touch them.
Mom! There is a cut-up finger on the kitchen island. And there is blood everywhere.
Oh my God. Kids, go next door and have Mrs. Robbins call the police.
Mom, where is Dad at?
Just go. Now. Phineas? Honey? Are you home?
Thank you for listening and supporting this podcast. If you would like access to the interdimensional radio station, you can search for the Nightmare Trials on Patreon. Once there, it is only $2 per month to gain access to our extra short stories and chat discussion with the professor. Your contribution helps us continue to do what we do. Further, you can go to the nightmaretrials.square.site and order merch and suggest to be a part of one of our stories. We would love nothing more than to add your name to our writings. Lastly, make sure to follow the podcast and hit the notification button so you never miss an episode. Until we meet again,